What's up, WWE Champions Universe? This is Lee from Champions Chat, and I want to do something different. So, Rusty and I had plans to podcast today, and his schedule just didn't allow. You know, it's kind of a busy season in life for the both of us, but I'm off today. I'm on Twitch with some of my very, very best friends here who follow the channel, and some who have supported with bits and bloops and bleeps and subscriptions, including Sensei Crease, big shout out, thank you very much, including Slim Numbers, thank you very much, and several others who have kind of gone through and provided those new currency things to the channel. But we've got less than an hour until Hype comes out, and I can do my talent up and a couple other things. So what I want to do is I want to use the game to rank for myself, that's big words, just for me, right? But also with your comments and considerations and condolences in the mix, where I think each wrestler falls in real life. So, like, for example, Rey Mysterio is right here. That's Zombie Ray. He's the top talent on the Candy Store roster that I'm using here. I'm not going to go through each Rey Mysterio and rank them in-game. I'm talking about the legacy of Rey Mysterio, the wrestler, in regards to history and how I feel and where I think he fits. So I don't think we're going to get through the entire roster by any means, but I wanted to kind of get started with it at least. So I've got my ranking system up here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to break them down into these categories. The greatest of all time, that's one character maybe, right? Maybe a couple here. Beyond the best, which is kind of like that Mount Rushmore level of wrestlers, and maybe I should have named it that. Top tier, mid tier, and then jobbers for life, as to where I think these guys fit in. And I'm just going to go in order of kind of how I have them on here, which means you'll see some characters like show up, like I'm only going to do one Stone Cold, but we got two Stone Colds here. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of the idea. Oh, well, thank you, Kurgan. I very much appreciate the bits. Famous last words. Thank you, Zandal. What's up, Real Pyro? Good to see you. Good to see you. Your TP is crazy. Oh, yeah, my absolutely. Oof. And Eagles down. We could get to Ryback. Let's just say it. All right. So the first couple I have on screen here are Rey Mysterio. Ooh, I got the double mouse effect. That's weird. The first couple I've got on here are Rey Mysterio and, oh, what's up? I got a hype train coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Stride, thank you for subscribing with Prime. I very much appreciate that. You guys are awesome. I love it. We've got a level 1 hype train going for the next 5 minutes, so anybody else who wants to kick on one of those, I've first hype train on this channel, never gotten to level 2. Thank you guys. We very much appreciate it. So let's talk about Rey Mysterio. Now, I can't do, there's 600 characters in this game. Granted, 300 of them are Triple H, but still, I can't spend like 5 minutes on every character, so I got to kind of go a little bit faster, get your reactions in as you go. For me, I would put Rey Mysterio somewhere in the top tier, if I could spell his name. Mysterio. I like Rey Mysterio better than most people give him credit for. I think he's definitely one of the best luchadors, Lucha Libre of all time, if not the absolute best. Mil Mascaras and some of the others are certainly, up there. But for me, Rey Mysterio is by far the most iconic luchador there's ever been. Plus, he was in a horror movie, which really looked weird. I did not watch it, but it was like this weird horror movie. The trailer of it is nuts. So I'm going to put Mysterio in the top tier. Now keep in mind that like every time I put someone else, if I put him above him, that's where I'm putting him. So he might go down, he might go up within this category, but I'm going to put him right there. All right, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Let's get controversial right off the bat here. Stone Cold is not my guy. He is great. In fact, I would say he is in that. Let's just call this the Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore worthy. How's that? I would say Stone Cold is Mount Rushmore worthy. In fact, this last weekend, as Hulk Hogan's legacy was being poured over, they shared his once again shared his Mount Rushmore, which was Andre the Giant, Stone Cold, The Rock, and Ric Flair. And, Stone Cold definitely belongs up there. But for me, he's not the greatest of all time. In fact, I think as more characters pour in, he's going to end up going down. One thing I think is quite interesting that somebody else shared is that Stone Cold was the top of the top for around 3 to 5 years, which means at this point, Shinsuke Nakamura has had a longer legacy in WWE than when Stone Cold was at his top, which means Logan Paul arguably has been in that top category, even though he kind of drops down a lot longer now than Stone Cold's actual run. Like, we look back with rose-colored glasses on the Attitude Era and remember Stone Cold reigning forever. It was like 3.5 years, 4 years. So, yeah, just saying. Coco Beware, love him in game. I don't think there's any doubt that he is a mid-tier character in the wrestling history. He was fun, though. I loved him. I loved Frankie the Bird. I enjoyed watching him growing up. Definitely probably the same for Kamala, the Ugandan giant. He had some great moments, some great matches with Hogan. They built him up as a monster, but they really didn't use him all that much, did they? All right, so let's get uber controversial for some now. As you can see, the next person on screen in the roster is Sami Zayn. And there are some who would argue that Sami Zayn is working towards a career that is Mount Rushmore worthy. I think most would say Sami Zayn definitely belongs in the top tier. Personally, I am not a fan of Sami Zayn's work. I think he's a mid-carder at absolute best. And I know he's good, and I told you I'd tick you off, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you guys. I'm sorry. I don't enjoy watching Sami when he wrestles almost ever. I've seen a couple good matches, but I knew it. I see the boos coming in. See, I knew it would happen already. But personally, Sami's just not my guy. I didn't want him to beat Gunter. I didn't, I did. Now, okay, let's give him one big moment here. I would have been behind him dethroning Roman Reigns. The honorary Uso story that they built up, to me, that was worthy of him dethroning Roman Reigns. And I think partially maybe I don't like him as much because they didn't go that way. I that's not fair to the person, but what's up, Tiger Kings? Good to see you in here. Sami has had some great matches. I'm not saying that. He is a technically sound wrestler. He's a great performer. I don't get the magic in him. I don't see him. Great Muta. There's gonna be a few I skip just because literally Keiji Muta is not someone I've ever watched. I saw him in WCW back in the day in the Nitro era, but even then I didn't really recognize what was going on there, and I don't think that's a fair representation of that character. So based on the fact that I've never seen him wrestle, I'm not going to speculate on his legacy. I'm out. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so Macho Man. Macho Man for me is way up there in the top tier. Maybe the top tier. Maybe creeping up to Mount Rushmore worthy of guys. But, I would say there are certain things like that he just... And again, in fairness to the character, in the real life, Randy Poffo was not his fault. The old administration allegedly felt like he got too old, and so they started not pushing him. They moved him to commentary, which, by the way, he freaking killed. I mean, that voice on commentary, come on. And then he went to WCW and reproved himself that he was not the Nacho Man and was not obsolete. So, top tier. Yeah, that's right, Bill's Mafia. The cream of the crop that always rises to the top. Welcome to the chat room. Why is it telling me that? I've already been here. Did it cut out? Anyway, you never mind. You just got done playing with Witcher 3. Oh, no worries, Tiger King. Appreciate you. But yeah, Macho Man, go back and watch any of his matches. I mean, he scripted them down to the T, but of course, there's that iconic WrestleMania 3 match against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat that guys like Chris Jericho hold up as the best match, literally of all time. So, all right, let's get to Drew McIntyre. Now, Drew McIntyre is a tale of two stories for me. When he became the world champion and then his run with CM Punk, I would put that among the best stuff that WWE's ever done. Now, tragically, his run as world champion was during that darned awful pandemic time, the Thunderdome, but he carried that time on his back pretty well. Was the hero of the story for that, and then when he came back, turned that into a great character arc. I definitely think he's way above mid-tier. I don't know in the annals of history where Drew fits. I don't think Drew holds a candle to Macho Man, but I think he could. So for me, I'm really high on Drew, but I'm gonna put him a little below Rey Mysterio in terms of my all-time impact list for him. All right. Let's get some controversy going again. Not that I want to be controversial in this video, but as much as I what's the right word to say? I don't appreciate Sami Zayn as much as I could. I really don't like Seth Rollins. I really don't like Seth Rollins. The character that they've had him doing for the last 6 or 7 years. Give me the heist of the century, Seth Rollins, and maybe if that were to continue, I'd still be the undisputed future. That era of Seth Rollins, I'd still be pretty big on him. But I don't see him as a relevant character. I don't like watching him on screen. He has X-Pac heat or go away heat for me. Literally when he's on screen, I want to see Paul Heyman talk, and I want to see Braun Breaker destroy people, but I don't watch his moments for him. And the 30-minute rambling promos, if he were the Ultimate Warrior, maybe he could get away with that, but he's not. He's not. So, controversy, yeah. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. I would love to see Uncle Howdy be more relevant than he is. I think that they tried to start doing some stuff, maybe unfortunately to build off Bray's legacy, and in some ways phenomenally to continue his brother's legacy. But I don't think there's any question that he's distinctly mid-tier right now, where he is in his life. So, I don't know. Thoughts in the comments section. You guys are giving me some good takes, but that's where I'm at with Uncle Howdy. Viscera, I don't like as much as Coco. In fact, I actually don't like him historically as much as Kamala. This would be King Mabel. This would be, Men on a Mission. This is all of them. I think all of the Nelson, I think his name is Nelson Frazier gimmicks. Viscera is probably the best. The world's largest love machine, all of those things. But at the end of the day, there's a reason why when King Mabel was King of the Ring going up against Diesel, it was one of WWE's lowest rated periods in history. Absolute history. You can't see. Can't see because I'm in the way here. Hold on. There we go. I have not been idle for 15 minutes, you jerks. That is a heinous lie. I moved the roster screen up twice already. Oh, dang. Oh, well. All right, so this video is obviously going to end up becoming a series of videos, because if I'm going to go through any of the characters, we're 14 minutes in. I'm building a list. I'm checking it twice. I think it's fun so far. All right. We're not doing females right now. I'll do that as a separate list. All right, we're not doing Stone Cold. Okay. Now we're back in session here. So let's talk about Hulk Hogan. Obviously, just passed away. There is so much chatter going on around his legacy right now because it's complicated. And I think one of the best pieces I saw was by I wouldn't note race other than it was very relevant to his writing in this, that as a black man, he was talking about the history of Hulk Hogan and some of the controversy. And kind of his landing point was, it's okay to recognize Hogan's shortcomings and controversies in his later years, and also hold in tension the fact that Hogan shaped so many people's childhood disproportionately. And so for me, I'm in that camp. I think he sought some redemption moments before he died, and I think that was great. He was baptized right before, like a year ago or something like that, with he and his wife. But also, there's the controversy. But in terms of being a wrestler, for me, there is not a single wrestler that holds a candle. I think if I were to be fair to this list on how I actually feel, the Mount Rushmore people, The Rock, Stone Cold, Andre, any of those guys don't even come close for me to Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is my greatest wrestler of all time. And, I definitely don't go in for what Mr. Allegedly's comments are worth after his own controversies, but the former chairman of the company even put out a statement, which he hasn't done for much of anything because of the controversy going on. And he even flat out said, Hulk Hogan was the biggest draw in history, the greatest wrestler of all time. Oh, Eagles. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'm not done being controversial here. Yokozuna. I would say Yokozuna had a great moment at WrestleMania 9. I know everybody hates WrestleMania 9 except me, because I was a little kid when it happened, and Hulk Hogan coming back and defeating Yokozuna in seconds was amazing. But that definitely plays into Eagles' Bret Hart comment, because my goodness, did that derail Bret Hart for a while. Whoops. Yoko himself, I thought, was fantastic. He was a great heel champion. Definitely world champion, but I don't see him in the top tier of at least my historical rankings there. So Lex Luger, similar. I don't even know. Yeah, we'll just put him right here. I don't think that his historical impact is as big as Yokozuna. They tried to make Lex Luger the next Hulk Hogan, and then they just gave up and let Hulk Hogan be the next Hulk Hogan again. And then that finally gave way, for your Bret Hart, to come in. Instead of trying to be the version 2.0 of someone else, they just let Bret be the version 1 of himself. And, yeah, go from there. All right, we've already done Macho. We've already got Lex. Grande Americano, Chad Gable. It's a fun gimmick. I think they've wasted Chad Gable overall. I wouldn't really put much. Chad's a great wrestler, and the Americano thing is getting funny. The injury angle, the injury in real life, unfortunately derailed some of that going on. I think they can milk it for something good, but... got to take into account Shorty G and how they mistreated that. American Alpha, which would have been great until they just kind of didn't. And I know that's an injury in real life as well that kind of derailed that. But yeah. Bobby Lashley. There was a time where I would probably put Bobby Lashley up here. Not just because he's from Denver, where I live, but I really thought they were doing really good with him as a dominant heel. Great world champion. Him and Drew McIntyre had some good matches, and the fact that he obliterated Drew at that WrestleMania was phenomenal. I could be convinced to put him in the mid-tier, especially if they had made the Hurt Business what it should be. Bobby Lashley would absolutely be on the top part, or the higher part of the top tier. That's a very low top tier ranking for me right there. Ilya, I saw Ilya live once, here in Denver. I have not actually watched much with him, so I'm just not gonna rank him right now because I don't think it would be fair. I don't have a good perspective on Ilya. Let's see. That's what's going on. Lee lives in Denver, and low oxygen is messing with his judgment. Wait till I get to Bret Hart, bro. Wait till I get to Bret Hart. Vikstrol's Bobby Lashley is your current favorite. There you go. I think he's phenomenal. I love what Bobby Lashley brings to the table. His old run, with the haircut angle and all that kind of stuff at WrestleMania. ECW World Champion, I would not put him up there, but the modern run that he did, unfortunately in the Thunderdome era, would also be in there. King Kong Bundy. So it's hard to say this about somebody who main evented a WrestleMania, let alone the second ever WrestleMania. But for me, King Kong Bundy was wasted. He was better before the era I really started watching, but by the time he came out, the only relevant thing he really did was wrestle Hogan at WrestleMania 2, and it was not a great match. There's a reason why we talk about the first WrestleMania and the Andre WrestleMania at WrestleMania 3 and just kind of skim through Bundy. But the greatest thing for me that he left in Legacy was one of my favorite shows growing up was Married with Children. And the Bundys, Al Bundy and all those guys, they were named after King Kong Bundy. So, that's the legacy on my life. But otherwise, as a wrestler and in the game, because this Bundy right here is not fantastic. He is not fantastic in the game. All right, controversial pick right here. I like Big Boss Man a lot better legacy-wise than I do Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, a lot of those guys. He was on the Bundy show also. He was on Married with Children. It was kind of cool. So, yeah. But Boss Man, the old Georgia cop Boss Man, was one of my favorite childhood characters. The moment where he turned face by reaching into Jake the Snake Roberts' bag and pulling the $1 million title out of there away from Damien the Snake, that was some big feels moments in my childhood. I remember that guy being the most despicable, gross, and then it was like he is a hero all in one moment. I loved that angle. I thought it was phenomenal. Disciple / Brutus the Barber Beefcake. I'm gonna go for Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And also Brutus was one of my more favorite characters growing up. I thought he was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the weird pink cutout tights and the strutting and cutting that he did. And looking back, he never cut, except for once or twice, never cut the hair of big name talent. But of all things that I remember in my childhood, Brutus Beefcake feuding with the Genius, which would be Macho Man's real life brother, Lanny Poffo, was phenomenal. I loved that. I ate that up as a kid. I loved the Beefcake. I definitely don't care about Booty Man or Zolo or whatever he was, the weird mask thing. The NWO Disciple was not great, although this NWO Disciple in the game is actually very good. Very good. Yeah. All right. R-Truth / Ron Killings. World champion in another promotion. Not here. R-Truth is... Oh, yeah, that's the Zodiac and the Butcher. That's right, Dominated. Thank you. Zodiac. Zandel, thank you. Yeah, as Zodiac, those guys, ich. Oh my gosh, Stride. Yeah, if Married with Children came out today, it would be South Park levels of controversy. That show was crazy. Weird. All right, so let's talk about R-Truth. For me, R-Truth is probably my favorite mid-carder of all time. Now, Ron the Truth Killings, world champion, I get that, but his greatest legacy is probably always going to be the goofball, the moments that he's had. I would say R-Truth, Ron Killings, is probably the funniest, organically funniest people they've ever had on WWE TV. They've tried to have funny moments, and you're just sitting there going what are they doing here? And then R-Truth comes on screen, and you're just what are they doing here? This is amazing. So for me, R-Truth is the king of the mid-tiers. And now, probably one of my more controversial picks. I've said it before, so you know it's coming. I would put Goldberg well at the top of my Mount Rushmore. Well at the top. Goldberg is one of the reasons I got back into wrestling in the 90s. In the 80s, I loved wrestling, wanted to be a professional wrestler, and then just kind of fell out of love. Like, the new generation era was not for me in any way, shape, or form. I did not like most of the people on there. And then in 1996, I want to say, it might have been around, yeah, because it was after Bash at the Beach for sure, so it might have been 97. I was in high school, and one of my buddies was like the go-to guy, like the one that had a disproportionate influence on our group. His name is Jim. He actually has a channel on YouTube called The Edge of Tech. It's actually extremely popular. He's got trophies and all sorts of stuff. Go Jim. But that makes sense because Jim is amazing. And he forced the rest of our friend group to go to WCW. It was the Monday Nitro where Diamond Dallas Page got arrested, and the Wolfpack had like debuted like a week or 3 before. And that was where I first saw Goldberg. It was a dark match at the end of the show. Like, it was the actual dark main event, the way WCW used to do things. It was him versus the Giant. And I remember walking away from that going, this guy is insane. And that's what actually got me started watching wrestling again, was Goldberg. So for me, like, one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. I know, I'm sorry. D'Lo Brown, probably right here. I don't really care for D'Lo historically. He was fun. I enjoyed him, all that, but yeah, that's about all I got there. We already talked about Drew McIntyre. All right, HBK. Historically, not as much as Goldberg. No, that would not be a possessive. HBK. Probably in my top 5. We'll see actually how this shakes out. This is actually kind of a good exercise for me to realize, was it Goldberg or was it your friend? Oh, it was a little bit of both for sure. I definitely, one of my favorite matches of all time is Goldberg versus Bork Laser, where he dominates him in 45 seconds. And as much as Goldberg didn't like his retirement match, I thought Gunter showed how Goldberg could be used in a way that's believable as a dominant character, but also beatable in the modern era. I did not like Goldberg beating Uncle Howdy. Bray Wyatt. Sorry, I'm just used to saying Uncle Howdy now. I did not like Goldberg beating Bray Wyatt, but I definitely would have loved to see him run over Roman Reigns, run over like a bunch of those guys. So yeah, absolutely liked him. I loved Goldberg, to be honest. And Shawn Michaels, I mean, undisputably probably the best overall wrestler of all time. Him and AJ Styles are probably the best like total packages, but again, it's just I can't, as much as I want to, I can't put HBK any higher than, I mean, Goldberg has a much bigger legacy for me, and Hogan. John Cena. John Cena is one. I did not watch much of his era, which shows like I missed a lot, because I don't think I ever saw Randy Orton versus John Cena until they did it recently, and that says a lot, because those guys wrestled all the time. I saw John Cena in the Ruthless Aggression era at his debut. I absolutely saw him show up in-game. This is one of my favorite characters. I love that John Cena. But in terms of ranking him, I can't say as though he is like greater than Stone Cold in my view. Definitely not up there with HBK. Controversially, not as much as Goldberg either. All right, Triple H. Triple H has a very strong legacy. I definitely see an argument for him being in maybe the Mount Rushmore, but I doubt it. Man, this one's hard for me. I would probably put him here, but I think there's going to be a lot of people that show up in the top tier above him. He is not, I mean, as a booker and the influence on the overall like history of wrestling, like just the fact that if he hadn't gotten into the curtain call moment, then we wouldn't have Stone Cold, we wouldn't have the Attitude Era, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of, the many things he's done that have just driven me nuts, where he just always won, Triple H is there for me. Undertaker, I would definitely put Undertaker above Stone Cold in terms of my overall rankings historically. Not as high as Shawn Michaels, but definitely has a special place. I watched The Undertaker debut, not live, but on pay-per-view. I watched that, and that was like one of those defining moments of my childhood where I was like, oh my gosh, Rusty and I have said it many times before, the moment where Roddy Piper goes, look at the size of that ham hock. That literally stuck in my brain for 40 years, apparently. Not quite as bad, 30-something years since he debuted. But absolutely. Thank you, Spider Guard. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate that. I appreciate that an awful, awful lot. The Rock. Yeah, I would also put The Rock above Stone Cold. I'm not a fan of the final boss gimmick, and I think lately he's kind of tarnishing his legacy more than anything. But first WWE champion of African American descent, which is historically huge. Of course, Ron Simmons got there first in WCW. Lots of tag teams did some things with it, but Rock definitely carries that moniker. He was and is the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. And during his heyday, I don't know that there was anybody bigger. I mean, if you go back and watch Rock Hogan from WrestleMania 18, that is like peak Rock. And it is amazing to see how just like the little eyebrow twitch literally set the world on fire. You were at SummerSlam 02? American Badass Undertaker was awesome in person. That's nice. That's nice. Eagles beat the Yeet. I don't know what that means. Yeah, we're coming to that, all right? Jey Uso? Jey Uso. I mean, for me, personally, here. Yes, hey. Hey, Uso. Hey, Uso. What's up? I personally, he's a mid-carder, mid-tier for me. I'm glad that he got to win the world title. We'll see if he gets back to that. But yeah, I'm not much on the Yeet train. Yeah. Now, this guy. I'm not supposed to talk about this guy, but I will say, man, this one's a hard one. This is becoming a WCW list. I think I'm going here. I mean, just historically, the man called Sting. Again, I came back in that WCW era where Sting was still just sitting in the rafters every week. And so that was my introduction to him. I never knew Surfboard Sting until later when I went back and watched the tapes. But the Crow Sting in the rafters coming after the NW, I mean, there was such an aura about him. And I think his legacy just speaks for itself. He is currently the only man to hold championship gold in almost every federation that's been on the major world scene. Like he's, AEW, with WWE, with WCW, with NWA, with TNA, and with one other, I want to say. I don't know that anybody else is... Well, obviously, nobody else can become a WCW champion. So Sting has, like, a very distinct part in history. Yeah, the fake Sting moment was weird. I'll give you that. That was a weird moment, Eagles. Absolutely. Absolutely. Mercy the Buzzard. Okay, so if Uncle Howdy is here, for me, I'm gonna make a shocking statement here. I like Mercy the Buzzard the best out of everybody. Like, I thought the character the character before Mercy the Buzzard, right? I thought he was this weird, dull army sergeant looking guy. And now, like, the weird Rob Zombie meets, like, a firecracker and somebody hyped up on pixie sticks kind of thing that we've got going right there. I really like Mercy the Buzzard. Like, he is my favorite. I never thought Dexter Lumis would be one of my favorite, guys in anything, but I really like Mercy the Buzzard on TV. He is one of my favorites, absolutely. All right. Why can't I? There we go. I was grabbing in the negative space, apparently. Damian Priest. Not sold on him. He's great. He's good, but I would definitely also put him in the mid-tier. I think he has a chance to get better and better, kind of as he goes. That's about all I say. Are they heel or face? Who, the Wyatt Six? I have no idea. They're kind of whatever they want to be, and I think that works for them. They're just like a chaos agent, which I enjoy. I like the Wyatt Six a lot. I still don't know why they haven't put all this time later Alexa Bliss with them, because there's still 5 of them. But whatever. Doesn't matter. Brawny Strowface. Historically, again, I'm glad he won the world title. I don't think I like him as much as Brutus from when I was a kid, Brutus. I don't know. I might enjoy, like, his better runs might be better than Mercy the Buzzard. So let me put him right here. Braun. I think if they use Braun right, I think he's a really fun mid-carder. And I'm glad that he won the Universal title for just, that hot moment he had it. I thought that was fantastic. Definitely not going to rate Apollo Creed as a wrestler. So Penta, I really like Penta. It's hard because he doesn't have that much of a legacy in this league yet. But like if you look at his CMLL, AAA, type legacy, he definitely has built himself up. In terms of just who do I like seeing on TV, I like seeing Penta more than Damian Priest. I like seeing Penta more than Jey Uso. So I'm going to put him right there. I think right now he's my favorite current mid-card guy that isn't named R-Truth. But, of course, R-Truth had that big comeback, and then I don't think I've really seen him much since then. Yeah. CM Punk. I want to talk controversy. CM Punk. I don't like CM Punk as much as Shawn Michaels. I don't like CM Punk as much as The Undertaker. I don't like CM Punk as much as The Rock historically, more so now. I don't like CM Punk as much as Steve Austin. I think I enjoy Punk more than John Cena, but John Cena's current run is so good. I'm going to put John Cena just one step below CM Punk on my historical list. Maybe that falls into top tier then, because I don't know if CM Punk is Mount Rushmore worthy, but John Cena historically is. So I don't know. That's a controversial one right there. Summer of Punk was phenomenal. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I think that was a great thing. But I don't know. Hold on, man. This is a hard one. I don't think CM Punk is worthy of a Mount Rushmore spot. But I do think John Cena's legacy earns him that place. But still, putting CM Punk above Macho Man Randy Savage, that's some high praise. That's some high praise, I think. I'm not going to rank Hornswoggle. He was a gimmick character. Yeah. JBL. Okay, so now if I'm doing a list of tag teams, which that's not what this is, maybe I can go back in and do something like that. The APA is one of my favorite tag teams ever. If we're just talking JBL as a wrestler, I think I like him a little bit less than Jey Uso. Maybe a little bit more than, I don't know, Damian Priest has done some really good work lately. I think I'm going to put him right here. I think JBL goes right below Damian Priest in my rankings. Fragile Phil isn't that great. Yeah, and Eagles Swoggle. If we're talking about in-game characters, Hornswoggle absolutely is one of my favorite, if not my favorite tricksters in the game. Like that's right up there. That is true. That is absolutely true. Yeah. Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons deserves all the flowers he can get because he is the first African-American world champion to break through an unfortunate ceiling that needed to be broken down much sooner than it was and really needs to be broken down again and again. In terms of him as a wrestler, though, really I would put him kind of on par with JBL. So maybe I am kind of putting APA together. Let me just kind of put APA together as that because Ron Simmons did well as a bruiser. He did fine as the Nation of Domination leader. But again, the whole reason that angle is iconic is because of The Rock. If JBL had just continued to lead it, I think that group would have fizzled. Yeah, I think that's a fair place for him. I think that's honestly a fair place for him. Fragile Phil, huh? Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. All right, Gunter. Gunther's definitely not mid-tier. Where he goes in the top-tier rankings for me is the question. I think Gunther's legacy is going to be greater than Bobby Lashley's. I think Gunther has proven himself. I don't know. I like Drew McIntyre better in some aspects, but Gunther is good. The current run they've got Gunther on just doesn't quite click with me, but like just the fact that he has been a world champion more than he has not been in WWE, like 80% of his time he's been a world champion or equivalent, says a lot. I think historically I would much rather watch a Gunther match than a Triple H match. I don't think he levels up to Macho Man. I don't think he's even close to Macho Man. Ironically, now we get the TMNT versions of guys. What's up, Slim Numbers? I am ranking... Ooh, LA Knight. I like LA Knight, man. Slim Numbers, I am ranking my favorite wrestlers by how they are in the game, but not like their game version, like actually their legacy, but just using this as a good list to jump off of. And controversially, I've already caused some fuss by a few of my rankings, namely putting Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins way down here in my mid-tier, like way down there in my mid-tier. So welcome to the party. Cody Rhodes. Here's another controversial take. I'm not a big fan of Cody Rhodes. I've told that to Rusty many times. Rusty's favorite character is Cody Rhodes. I'm currently putting Cody in the top tier. That's undeniable. Did I spell his name right? D-E-S? Yep, D-E-S. Okay, R-H-D-E-S. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I did that. But I don't care for him to be world champion again. I don't care for him to carry the company. I'm just not a huge Cody Rhodes fan. I'm sorry. I am a Roman Reigns guy. I liked Roman Reigns up until the big dog thing kind of wore out. I would say in modern time, let's see, I like Roman Reigns way more than John Cena. Pretty sure, the Tribal Chief run, I think, eclipses Stone Cold's best work. I think the Tribal Chief run eclipses The Rock. I might even like Roman more than Undertaker, historically. I think I'm going to put him just below, though. I think Roman right now is... So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, just out of my top 5, though. I don't know. I might come back on that later and move Undertaker down by 1. But if you're anywhere near Undertaker's level, you have done amazing things in life. Slim Numbers, Warrior S+ tier over Hogan. I don't know about that, but I think when we get to Warrior, I'm gonna controversy some people again. All right, so we've done LA Knight. All right, we're at the zombie version, but that doesn't matter. We're just talking about the real LA Knight. Here's my thing on LA Knight. LA Knight should have been the world champion 2 or 3 times by now. They keep squashing him. Talking back to the Tribal Chief era, if there was one person I wanted more than Sammy Honorary Oos to beat the Tribal Chief, it was when LA Knight did that promo against Roman Reigns, where he sat at the head of the table and just forced Roman to sit on the side. Like, that was some great stuff. But they keep pushing LA Knight down. I would say I like seeing him way more than Jey Uso on TV. I'm more invested in Penta. I think for now LA Knight is upper mid-tier for me. I wish he was higher, but he's not. He's upper mid-tier. Yep, that's that. Okay, Xavier Woods. I would love to see Xavier Woods take a title run so that the New Day all get a shot with the title. I don't know at this point in his career if that's going to happen. I think the New Day have proven themselves a million times. Their heel run has been great, except for when it isn't. I enjoy seeing Xavier Woods on TV more than Seth Rollins. Definitely more than Sami Zayn. I think I enjoy seeing Mercy more. I think Xavier Woods sits right here, kind of in the middle of the mid-tier for me. And that's okay. Solo Sikoa. I am not a fan of Solo Sikoa. I don't necessarily care for his knockoff Tribal Chief character, although I think it's been good for him. Not invested in him at all. I would much rather see Coco Beware on TV back in the day. Yeah, New Day is easily in conversation for the best stables in the business. Best tag teams of all time, like them. I mean, for me, it's like them or the Legion of Doom. There's not really a whole lot of other considerations, I would say, on that level. They're definitely better than Demolition. Demolition was kind of a knockoff Legion of Doom anyway, although I loved them. Don't get me wrong, I loved them. Jacob Fatu, I think he's going to be rising. I would put Jacob Fatu right around the same area as LA Knight, but I think I like him a little bit more. I think he has the potential to grow. Like, I think LA Knight, if they don't do something good with him soon, I think LA Knight's going to go down the list. I think Jacob Fatu has the potential to rise up the list. Same with Penta. I think absolutely have the ability to rise up the list as well. Ozzy doesn't count. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'm just not gonna rate Julius Creed. Like, his brother. Hold on, wait 1 sec. I'll rate his brother. I don't know why. I cannot stand seeing Brutus Creed on TV. I don't like him. I'm worried every time he does his Brutus Bomb that he's going to hurt somebody, and it looks like he does half the time. So I don't enjoy that team, but I think Julius has a chance to rise above. I'm just not going to rank him. Okay. Crap, I was hoping we would get to the end of my time before we got to Bret Hart, because here's where I piss people off. Yeah, Eagles, please forgive me. Did I say I love you yet? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bret Hart is just not one of my favorite people, period. I get his legacy. I get his impact on the business historically. I never, ever enjoyed watching him after he was out of the Hart Foundation. Now, Hart Foundation, I absolutely loved, but main event Bret Hart just didn't do it for me. Out of respect for his legacy, I want to keep him in the top tier, absolutely, because I truly think his legacy has earned him that. If I were honest where I would rank him, I enjoyed watching the Big Boss Man far more than I ever enjoyed Bret Hart. I enjoyed watching Brutus the Barber matches far more than Bret Hart. Yeah, if for my ranking, I would probably put him just above Braun Strowman right here, but I'm gonna do something here. Bret Hart, historical impact goes there, and Bret Hart, that would be a bad misspell. Lee's ranking goes here, and I'm just gonna have to ask for forgiveness because I know that he's worth more than what I'm saying he is. Yeah. It's just he's just not for me. He's just not for me. So, not my world champion. Gobbledygooker, no, not counting him. I'm not going to count not the Motor City Machine Guns, the Good Brothers, because again, the only time I've ever seen them, they've been stooges for AJ Styles. Elias, yeah, I mean, he's not in the company anymore. I liked Elias. I would probably put him, if we're talking Walk with Elias specifically, that gimmick, I would put it above Chad Gable. If we're talking like anything else, I think, I mean, he's got to be a little bit lower. They just didn't use him well. Guy I can't talk about, Rated R Superstar, Superstar. Yeah, I think Edge, for me, I think historically I like Edge better than Cody Rhodes. Maybe better than Bobby Lashley, but I think he tops out before Drew. I like Drew McIntyre historically more. I think Edge for me goes here. Honestly, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a great superstar. He was a great world champion many times over. Yeah, but I think he's in the top tier. I think that's it. At least I still put Bret, but Rusty has been having, so his family stuff, he's it's not bad by any means. It's like they're just super busy. His wife is working on a super intense program that means that she has other things to do, and Rusty has to step up as the dad and do more things that way, whereas right now my family's in Oklahoma and I'm sitting in my house just doing whatever I want to do, so it just led to a different dynamic. Hopefully by next week we'll be able to podcast and get things going again, but it is what it is. Alright, last one for this video. All three of these are Eddie Guerrero, so I think it told us we needed to stop at Eddie Guerrero, and then I'll pick this back up another day. Eddie Guerrero, for me, was the guy I saw in WCW. I watched him in WWE. I loved him, but he was never like my top guy. I think he belongs in the top tier conversation. Guerrero. There we go. But I don't know that he's super high up on my list. Tragically, his life was cut short. But again, I enjoyed watching him. And that promo that he did in WCW on Eric Bischoff, where it was like, oh, that was real? That was where I first went, oh, this guy's got something. I like watching. So that's my list. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to switch over and do some talent up on my own account. We're going to take a look at Hype and try and see if we can figure out what it is live together. So we'll pick this back up. But right now as it sits, greatest of all time, Hulk Hogan, Mount Rushmore worthy, Goldberg, Sting, HBK, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, The Rock, Stone Cold, and John Cena. And the top of my top tier, CM Punk, Macho Man, and then Gunter, Triple H, Rey Mysterio, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Edge, Cody Rhodes, Eddie Guerrero, and from a historical perspective, Bret Hart. King of the mid-tier, R-Truth. We'll come back with more, as we go. But I think this is a fun start to the rankings, and I enjoyed getting to chat with you guys in this. So I'm going to end this video, but stay live on Twitch and check out what Hype is actually all about. So see you in a moment. Bye.